Resentment is poison to relationships, and we really have to manage it because it's very hard to simultaneously hold a bunch of resentment and also want to be close to another person. It stands in the way. It's a big fat roadblock. So we need to pay attention to it and deal with it first so that we can keep moving closer to each other. I'm Stacy Rocklein, and I help people make their functional relationships exceptional with excellent communication. So I'll tell you a quick story just to give you an idea. This happened yesterday. I've got 3 boys. And so I knew that I had to run to and from soccer practice. And then I was going to come home and jump on a Zoom call with my inner circle right after that. And there wasn't really anything to eat. So I'm going to stop at the store and I'm going to grab one of those rotisserie chickens and some lettuce, and they can do Caesar salads. So I make sure I do that during my very busy day, bring it home, and I just go about get home from soccer, get into my call, and I come out later at 9:15, and there are dishes everywhere. Some people ate what I brought home. Some people clearly had done other things, but whatever. I wasn't very hungry at this point because I had already just grabbed a snack in between soccer and my call. And so I asked, my son if he would do the dishes. And he was complaining about doing the dishes. And rightly so, pointing out that all day long people had just not been putting their things in the dishwasher. So he was basically left with a bunch of stuff that wasn't his responsibility. And then my husband gets involved and it turns into a energetically draining situation. And I finally just feel anger rising, and I go into the kitchen and I just start angrily doing the dishes, putting them in the dishwasher, cleaning the counters, washing dishes that I had nothing to do with, and I could feel resentment rising. And I have all of this resentment. I'm angry. Some women are really uncomfortable with feelings of anger and feelings of resentment, so they really try to push them down because they've been taught that we're not supposed to do that. Well, I learned that it's much better to feel your emotions and not push things down. So here it is, and I'm feeling it. Whatever, kitchen gets clean, and I sit down to watch a TV show, and after it's over, it's time for me to put myself to bed. And I realize I have this resentment that is standing between me and my desire to go, hug and kiss my son goodnight and, connect with my husband before I put myself to bed. That resentment it's just toxic, because not only do you have a bad feeling about the other person, and it's just all a story that you're telling yourself, right? About they shouldn't do that. It's not fair. I do all this stuff. I'm not appreciated, blah, blah, blah. So you have a bad feeling anyway, but then it stops you from making connection. And connection is so important in our relationships. We have to be connecting positively all the time. We have to be building that bank up, because every once in a while something's going to come up and it's going to be uncomfortable. Conflict is going to come up and we're going to have to talk about it. So if we have generated a lot of connection, it's going to be easier to navigate that. So I realized I'm sitting there with resentment, and my choices were to basically just go to bed, not say goodnight to anybody, take that energy into my night, or to manage it, to face it, to look at it and see what I can do about it so that I can get back to the work of my desire to connect with them. So I really think about resentment as, what are the facts and what's the story? The facts are there are dishes to do. People didn't do their own dishes. I want a nice kitchen, so I got up and did them. The story is all the shoulds and the should nots and the poor me and all that stuff. If I have something that I need to communicate, I don't need all that story. I can ask for people to, please go do your dishes, put your dishes away. I mean, I can go ask for things. We have to make requests in our relationships. But to build a big story about it just generates a lot of resentful feelings. So I try to look at this as facts and story. What's just the stuff I'm telling myself about it and what actually happened? Right there, that will strip away a lot of resentment and sometimes just make it disappear altogether because it's just in our head, right? We can still communicate with people about how we feel. We can still ask for things from people, but we don't have to do it with a lot of the story that we spin around it. Now, once I kind of looked at it and I was like, okay, whatever, I standing in alignment with myself, wanted to make sure that there was food for everybody because that's something that I care about. I want to wake up to a clean kitchen, so that is something that I'm doing for myself. And I need to have a conversation at another time with the people in my family about what expectations are in the kitchen. And it doesn't have to be charged. It doesn't have to be negative. It doesn't have to be full of resentment. Once I was able to get myself through that little bit of self-coaching, everyone can do that, then I don't have that obstacle anymore. Then I'm like, man, I really love these people and I definitely want to do hugs and kisses and goodnights before I go to bed. That makes me feel good. It makes me feel connected to the people that I care so deeply about. And I can do it now that I have gotten rid of my resentment. So it's so important that you keep your eye on it, especially if you're a pusher downer of it. Find it. Notice when you feel icky. Notice if it's the martyr track, the victim track, the poor me that starts up. You've got resentment to manage. And if you have a lot of resentment, like really deep, deep resentment or like volumes of it, I promise you that you're not having an easy time connecting with the people in your life. And you really have to manage that. But simultaneously, you want to keep connecting. So another thing that you want to do is to be purposeful, just like I was saying a few minutes ago. And one of the ways you can do that is by doing things that are fresh and new. I mean, we connect the same old ways, right? The kiss goodbye. It's the same thing. But when you start doing something fresh and new, it brings a new excitement into your connection. So if you want some new ideas, I've got some for you. You can pick up Flirty Little Secrets. There's several ideas in there that you can start doing in less than 5 minutes a day so that you can stay connected to the people that you care about, which makes you feel good, makes intimacy possible, and it makes conflict go so much easier. So make sure that you grab that, and I'll see you next time.